Okay, so this is my 99 Jeep Wrangler. This is a TJ. Um, Looks pretty good on the outside. It's had a few minor rust issues. Had to have the front fenders replaced, but it looks pretty good right now. Anytime that there's been anything that's knocked off the factory undercoating off the frame, I've gone back in there and kind of wire brushed it to clean it up a little bit, and then undercoated it again. So outside of the frame looks pretty good. But I wanted to take a look at the inside of the frame. Recently, a transmission shop couldn't get the skid plate off. I had to have the transmission rebuilt. They couldn't get the skid plate off because the nut certs on the inside were spinning. So they cut holes through the frame. And I wasn't crazy about the way they fixed it. I didn't know what the correct repair was. And they obviously didn't know either. But anyway, what this has given me now is the opportunity to kind of flesh the frame out a little bit. And I ran an inspection camera up here inside the frame, so we're going to take a look at that here in just a minute. Okay, so here we are with the inspection camera. It doesn't focus on stuff that's far away very well, so it looks a little blurry here, but once we get inside the frame it'll look pretty sharp. So you can see I'm going to go through this rear hole on the driver's side. This is above, or where the skid plate's bolted into my frame now. So we're just going to work this inspection camera down through here. You can see on that inside wall there's some rust. You can see some dirt here in the bottom of the frame. Now I just flushed out this frame with some water and compressed air and a magnet and tried to pull out everything that I could. The inside wall here, which is the wall on the left, is the concerning wall to me because obviously the steel's delaminating. The rust is getting in there and it's pressing out the steel that's on the front. And it's not going to be structurally sound much longer. Just lots of pieces of rust in here, and it's not looking too good. I'm not too worried about surface rust. You can see the black coating up there on the top. That would be the factory coating. So there was a factory coating on the inside of the frame, just like the outside. And the outside wall here doesn't look too bad. But this inside wall here, where all these pieces of rust are, this is pretty bad, and I'm not able to pull most of these out using the magnet because they're stuck in here. Some of these pieces haven't come detached yet, and I can't pull them out through these holes. But as we work the camera back here, up through the frame in the rear, this would be the part where it starts to go up, to get above the rear axle. It's kind of clean back up in here, but you can tell down in this, on the inside, at the bottom of this frame rail here, is just where a lot of dirt sits, salt sits, and it just tends to rust out the frame. That's all there is to it. Rusted out from the inside, and on the inside part of the frame here too. So I'm going to take my camera out, and I'm going to try to put it in through the hole here above the rear, well, right next to the rear wheel. There's what I would consider to be a design flaw here, and there's a hole right next to the rear tire, and there's nothing that blocks that, so just anything you get from the road can go right through that hole. So we'll see if we can get this camera in here. It's really tight to get it in there. I should have pulled off the rear tire in order to get it to be able to go through here more easily, but you'll be able to see a little bit. Now on the inside there's not supposed to be a hole, but there is a hole there on the inside of my frame. This is near where the upper control arm and lower control arm sway bar mount. And there's not supposed to be a hole there, but it's rusted all the way through, clean through. You can see here on the bottom of the frame rail there's just a bunch of dirt and sand and whatever else is in there. And I did flush this thing out, so this is just left over after it was flushed out. I was thinking about going through here and coating it with something on the inside to prevent any more rust, but I may be beyond that with this frame. It's difficult back in this area to try to get that inspection camera to behave with that wheel on. I really should have pulled that wheel off here, but you can see the rust on the wall. You can see pretty thick chunks of steel and rust wanting to come off that wall there, and just a lot of junk sitting down here in the bottom of the frame, and it's just going to it's going to hold moisture, and it's just going to cause it to rust out. So I encourage you to flush out yours if you can. I know some people have drilled a hole in the bottom of the frame to flush it out, but I think this one, it's still strong now, but it's not going to be strong much longer.